Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us live. We're here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California, keeping track of Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley in the Crew Dragon, now named Endeavour, on their way to the International Space Station. It's been a big day for SpaceX, for NASA, for America in general, and of course for the two astronauts on board. Launch day preparations started early today for the crew, and that was about 4 hours prior to launch. They completed their final medical checks before joining the SpaceX team to get suited up. After that, in the NASA Operations and Checkout building, the crew walked out, waving some final farewells, giving those air hugs, and saying goodbye to their family that was waiting outside. The next destination for the crew was the launch pad. It was about a 20-minute Tesla ride to Pad 39A, where Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon spacecraft were waiting for them. About 2.5 hours prior to launch, the crew ingressed or entered the Crew Dragon spacecraft, walking over the crew access arm, getting a last look out of the windows at Florida, and heading into the White Room and the vehicle itself. About 40 minutes before launch, the crew access arm retracted or drew back, and a few minutes later, at T-35 before liftoff, the launch escape system was armed. This would have allowed the Crew Dragon to escape the Falcon 9 on the launch pad or upon ascent, should there have been any anomaly with the vehicle, which fortunately we saw a smooth ride into orbit today, and things continued to be so. With 35 minutes to go until launch, propellant loading began and it filled the fuel tanks for those 9 Merlin M1D engines. With just 5 minutes before liftoff, Dragon entered terminal count, meaning its onboard computers took control of the vehicle.
At 3:22 p.m. Eastern or 12:22 p.m. Pacific, moment that we had been waiting for a couple days at this point, and the moment that my heart rate went to 150 BPM according to my heart rate monitor. Those 9 Merlin M1D engines ignited and Falcon 9 lifted off from Space Launch Complex 39A and ending a 9-year hiatus from human spaceflight at the historic Apollo 11 launch pad. With Falcon 9 first stage at full power, Bob and Doug began their journey to the International Space Station. Just after the T+9-minute mark, the first stage landed on the autonomous spaceport drone ship, which was stationed out in the Atlantic Ocean. And then a couple minutes after that, we had payload separation, and that's where we saw Dragon finally flying free. Dragon executed later on the phase burn, which was the first of 5 major burns that are required to raise Dragon's orbit. At about T+1 hour and 30 minutes, the crew completed the far-field manual flight test. Dragon is fully autonomous. That baby drives itself. But the far-field manual flight test allowed the crew to test the systems that would allow them to override Dragon's computers and maneuver manually should they ever need to take control.
After that flight test, the Dragon spacecraft executed the boost burn. The boost burn raised Dragon's apogee, or the highest point of its orbit, to just 10 kilometers below the space station. And this was the second of those 5 major burns. It lasted about 7.5 minutes. The third of the major burns occurred about 45 minutes later, the close co-elliptic burn. This firing of the Draco thrusters lasted just under 10 minutes and placed Dragon on an orbit roughly co-elliptic with the space station, which means that Dragon is now maintaining that 10-kilometer orbit below station rather than just reaching it at the apogee. It's been a busy day so far for the crew and Dragon. They're currently getting some sleep.
Yeah, and I feel it. I could use some sleep right about now.
Much needed sleep. Yeah. So a busy day, and then we've got some other things coming up tomorrow, but let's live it all over again and take a look back at some of the day's highlights.
This is NASA TV.
You're looking at the American-made rocket and spacecraft that will return American astronauts to the International Space Station from American soil for the first time since the retirement of the space shuttle, last flown nearly 9 years ago. Today, we're giving it another shot with our partners at SpaceX. Wednesday's first attempt was postponed due to that wild weather. But if all goes well today, we will mark a new first in NASA's storied history and usher in the commercial crew era of American spaceflight. There's astronaut Doug Hurley getting into his spacesuit, and he's being helped by one of the suit technicians there. He has flown into space 2 times before. He was the pilot on STS-127 and 135. And there's a wider shot. You can see astronaut Bob Behnken also in view now. Bob is to the right of your screen, and he also flew on 2 shuttle missions. Bob is a native of St. Anne, Missouri. And Doug is from Appalachian, New York. He was born in Endicott, considers Appalachian his hometown. We can see now NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine. He's talking to the crew, and it looks like Associate Administrator Jim Morehard is also in the room, standing to the right of your screen.
And these are great moments to get a last chance to talk to the senior leadership of NASA as they're about to go off and launch into the cosmos. And I think when you look at how Bob and Doug complement each other, and how these SpaceX suits, they really complement the astronauts too, because they're more form-fitted, they're custom-made, and this is a moment where they're getting ready to, do the real deal. And Lauren, I think, the integration of the suit and the vehicle and these seats is just really, really impressive. How y'all at SpaceX did that.
Yeah, the primary purpose of the spacesuit, it's a pressure suit. Now, the Dragon capsule is already pressurized, so even in the vacuum of space, the crew is safe when inside of Dragon. But in the unlikely event of an anomaly that causes the capsule to depressurize, we can actually flow oxygen or nitrox into the suit, and that will keep the astronauts pressurized in flight. So that's its main purpose. So it's that form and function, and some style there as well.
And for the kids out there that have 3D printers or have 3D printed, the actual helmets were made by 3D printing. So you could be a spacesuit designer yourself because you already have the skill set, and or fly in space one day if you wanted to.
And we are looking at a live picture now of Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley walking down that hallway in the astronaut crew quarters. We just saw Doug wave at the screen, and they're just turning the corner, getting inside that elevator. And this, you can't see it from here, but there is a banner hanging there. You can kind of see it in the back. There's a banner hanging on the wall of the elevator with the signatures of all the people who worked on this mission. So it was really important for them to hang that up in there so Bob and Doug could see it. And there the doors are opening.
Here they come.
Great.
And there they are, NASA astronauts.
Small crowd, but big cheers.
NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley. Doug on the left, Bob on the right, waving to the crowd there to cheer them on. And there are their families right in front of them.
The virtual hugs, a very special moment. Fist bumps.
Are you going to be on good behavior? Are you going to listen to mommy and make her life easy?
You can hear them.
Ready? Let's light this candle, I agree. Launch America! Bye, guys.
Now they are getting into the Tesla Model X that's going to take them to the launch pad, being strapped into their seats.
Their suit techs are attaching their umbilicals, so integrated into the Teslas. These are not just any Tesla you can just buy off the web or in a Tesla dealership. They've been outfitted with cooling units, and that white umbilical, similar to what you saw in the suit room, that umbilical is being connected to the suit to provide cooling air to the astronauts while they're on the way to the pad. And those Falcon wing doors are closing.
Super sleek.
A rapid departure from the Astro van.
Yes, I would say so.
And their flight surgeon is in the front seat in the passenger side, taking the journey along with them.
As I mentioned last time, we always think about the technology and the rockets, but this is what it's all about, the families coming together, supporting the families, us working together as a team to ensure they get up there safely and back home safely for their families.
I couldn't hear everything they were saying, but I did catch Bob telling his son to be good for mom, make her life easy. As a parent, I appreciate that.
Let's see that prominent NASA meatball.